Good morning, everybody. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and we're about to get started with today's LIIT. You just need yourself. Pardon me. But sure, that sounds like a delicious idea. And before we get started, I'm even going to tell you for that. And let's do this. Okay. So, warming up. We're going for some lateral side to side step taps. Just stepping side to side. You can swing your arms a little bit. I encourage you to start to even take a little draw in from your lower belly. Think about pulling it in and up so that there's some bracing of your abdominal core. And start to gently twist your chest. Think about relaxing your back a little bit. And if it feels good, oh, hi, Fred. You can even give yourself a couple shoulder rolls right here, like you're a Robert Palmer girl. And I'm going to shoulder roll myself all the way over to the bird, and I'm going to bribe her with some sackies while still getting in these nice lateral side to side step taps. Let's change those lateral side to side step taps, though. We're going to go for a hamstring curl. So you're just going to bring that heel towards your glute. I like to really point my knee down towards the floor while getting the hamstring curls also. So get a little extra into the glute squeeze, into the hip opener. But if you need to, if you're feeling really tight, maybe your knees are pointing a little bit more forward or down to the floor below you instead of out in a V. Let's bring those arms up overhead. We're going to find a knee drive to the side. You carefully place your foot back down on the floor. Maybe you're moving a little bit slower. Instead of letting that foot slam to the floor, you're taking a moment to balance as your leg drops. So maybe your knee's coming up really high, or maybe your foot is just barely lifting off the floor, shifting weight side to side. Let's get 4 more on each side. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Relax your feet down. Give me a couple of big hip circles in one direction. Couple of big hip circles in the opposite direction. Plant your feet firmly on the floor, heels behind your toes. Take a generous bend of your knees. Inhale, bring your arms all the way up overhead. Reach up from your waist. So not just shoulders coming towards your ears, shoulders away from your ears. Proudly lift your chest. Roll your personal little tree. And exhale, arms down by your side. So let's get back, my bad. Awesome. Let's do 2 more. Bend your knees. Inhale, arms all the way up. Remember lifting from your waist. Draw your rib cage in, so don't let your ribs flare out here as your arms come up overhead, still drawing in from the center line, and exhale, arms down. One more time. Bend your knees. Inhale, arms up. Keep your arms up towards the sky, palms facing forward. We're going to draw one elbow down like you're pulling a bow and arrow. You can even look up towards the sky. Reach your opposite hand up nice and high, and both arms high. Opposite arm, like you're pulling a bow and arrow. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Your shoulder blade in, elbow down towards your hip. Let's get 1 more on each side. Just waking up, warming up our body, whatever time of day it is. Pushing away from your desk. I know it. I was excited to push away from my desk and find a little movement. Both arms up towards the sky. Go ahead, extend your arms out to the side, nice and long. Push your palms away. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Make a couple little circles with your arms. Get some nice stretches in the wrist. Go ahead, change direction of those circles. Some stretches in the palms because my hands are really hurting lately, everybody, but I find that doing these little things, especially for movement, helps. Exhale, relax your hands down, interlace them, stretch your knuckles towards the floor or pull them away from you. And as you release, we're going to bang the drums. So just gently twisting side to side, allowing your arms pitter patter against your body. Still keeping that core nice and tight though. Length through the crown of your head. One more time, just rotating through your shoulders, waking your body up. Awesome. Let's come on into today's workout. I guess there's like a slight yoga inspiration in some of our moves today. So, move number one, we're going to switch over to just one leg. We're going to get started by just kicking our leg forward and back. Got some short intervals. I'm gonna add 5 seconds. We're gonna do 35 seconds. And we got 15 seconds for me to quickly tell you what's up and get into the next move. All right. So once again, we're about to get started with just kicking that right leg forward and backward in the range of motion that works for you. You're not jamming your left knee back. You can have a slight bend in that left leg because you're working to ground through all 4 corners of your foot. So not rolling to one side or the other. And that slight bend of your knee while pressing equally through your foot is going to engage that whole left leg. So it's working too. All right. 2 hips in one line. So maybe your hands are on your hips to make sure that you're not tacking your hip as you lift your left foot up off of the floor, shoulders down and back, chest lifted. Let's find those kicks forward and back. Here we go. So after you get a kick or two, maybe even hold with your leg up forward for just a second. In 4 seconds, we're going to keep that heel gently forward in front of us. Here we go. So heel gently forward, lift it up off the floor. We're going to press up onto the ball of the foot, whoop, and lower down with control. So getting a nice little half raise as quietly as you can, bringing your heel back down towards the mat. Whoop. The more you focus your eyes on one spot, the better your balance is going to be. Go ahead, shake it off. Just switch to the other side. So planting your right foot down, let's actually just get right into those kicks. Sounds worth it to get a couple extra kicks. 2 hips in one line, 2 shoulders in one line, length through the crown of your head. And then when you're ready, maybe you take a second for a little hold towards the front with your toes flexed towards your face. And next up, we're going to find those calf raises. So heel gently forward, 2 hips in one line, shoulders down and back, press all the way up onto the ball of your foot, slowly lower down, still flexing your left toes back towards your face. Oop. Make sure those 2 hips stay in one line. They're going to want to try and jut. Awesome. We're coming to the top of our mat next for a little warrior 1 flow. So go ahead, step your right leg back behind you, hips forward. Inhale your arms all the way up overhead. Generous bend in your left leg. We're going to exhale, bring hands down towards the floor. Step your left leg back. You can bring your knees to the floor if you need to. Right foot comes forward. Inhale, arms up. Press yourself up into your warrior or crescent warrior. Knee can come down, hands come down. You can send your legs back. So you can pass through right here in tabletop. You can stay with your knee on the floor, or you can challenge yourself to lift yourself up. I do hope that you got started in this movement with me. Yay! We're going to come back down towards the floor. Left knee stays down in your tabletop. Extend your right leg out long behind you. Hands palms underneath of your chest, shoulders. We're coming down for a push-up. Here we go. So elbows close by your hips. As your chin and chest come towards the floor, your leg lifts and press yourself up. Keep your right hip turned down to the mat. We're going to go nice and slow here for round 1. I'm probably going to go even slower just because my palms hurt and I'm being real about it. Think about squeezing your inner thighs in towards each other so that as you go down, there's not a lot of shifting of your weight left and right for 3, 2, 1. Both knees down towards the floor. I'm going to step my knees back a little bit to lower all the way down. Chest comes down towards the floor. Take a little bit of a baby cobra lift. And then get ready. We're going to press ourselves up into a plank. Tuck your toes under, push up into your plank. When you need a break, or if you need a break from your plank, send your glutes up nice and high into your down dog. You can take as generous of a bend of your knees in your down dog as you want or need, a little active recovery, or shifting back forward into your plank, squeezing your shoulder blades together, keeping your rib cage knit in nice and tight. You keep your heels stacked on top of the balls of the feet. Awesome, you did it. This time, right knee comes down towards the floor, hands palms underneath of your chest. Lift your left leg up, shoulders down and back. We're going to come on back into that chaturanga style push up, bringing your chin and chest to the floor. Here we go. So elbows drive back towards your hips, little tricep focus push up, and then press yourself back up. Think again of what's happening with your hips. I know it's tempting to let that left hip open up. It's tempting to shift your hips to the right, like trying to stay square to the floor, keeping your inner thighs drawn in, keeping your elbows coming by your side as your chest comes down. It might be really challenging for you today. I know it feels really challenging for me early this morning. Hands hurt, not sleeping the best. Totally okay. All right, left knee comes down towards the floor. You can have your knees open a little wide. We're going to shift our hips all the way forward, kind of in like a seal pose. So hips shift forward. Maybe your heels even come together. Lift your chest, play with a little bit of a back bend here, and then exhale, send your glutes all the way back towards your heels for a little bit of child's pose. We're going to pull it all the way back forward. So inhale, coming forward, squeezing your glutes, releasing your hips towards the floor, finding this nice cow with your upper body, and then exhale, sending it back into your pose. If you want to take an extra second, extra breath in child's pose, fine. If you want to keep up with this delightful teeny little flow, also great. Let's take a break now, though. Glutes back towards heels. Heel your blah, 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 blah. Glutes back towards heels. Here's your child's pose. Take a couple breaths. Awesome. Bring the weight forward, tuck your toes under, walk your feet towards your hands. Take a big inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. And stretch in your hamstrings into the low back, shoulders away from your ears. As generous of a bending your knees as you want. Start to bring more weight to your heels and slowly roll yourself up. At the top, inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, relax your arms down by your side. Stretch your fingers down to the floor. Take a moment, decompress your shoulders. And then shake it out. All right, grab a quick sip of water. Just a little sip of water, because we're going to get back down to the floor, because we're going to do all of that joy one more time. Let's get it one more time. Perhaps let us start with the left leg this time. That way we'll get a couple extra swings even on the right leg. So 2 feet firmly planted on the floor, heels in line with your hip flexors, shoulders rolled down and back. Taking a little tuck of your pelvis, so making sure that you don't have a lot of rounding in the low back. Pelvis down towards the floor, proud lift of your chest. We're switching to the right leg first. Let your left foot hover off of the floor. Really work to find the length to keep your 2 hips in one line, and let's start with those kicks forward and back. Forward and back, maybe taking a pause with your leg lifted, a little extra challenge into your quad. Your foot does not have to stay that high as we do our calf raises, but flex your toes to your face, left foot forward, and press all the way up onto the ball of the right foot and down. How high can you press up today and still lower with control? The more you focus your eyes, the easier it's going to be. We did it. Let's switch to the opposite leg. Left foot firmly plants on the floor. Find your lifted length. You can start with the kicks once you're there. You have a couple extra seconds though if you need them. Enjoy your range of motion. Remember, we're not jamming back the left leg or that standing leg. The quad is engaged. There can be a bend in the knee. Let's bring that right foot forward. 2 hips in one line. Find your calf raises up and down. Try not to let that heel just slam back down towards the floor. And you lower with the same intention that you lifted. Is your right foot still flexed to your face? Yay! All right, next up we have our warrior 1 pass through. Last time I demoed with the knee on the floor. This time trying to just keep that plank happening, a little extra challenge, but you can bring your knee down if you want to. So inhale, arms up, right leg steps back behind you. Exhale, hands come down towards the floor, stepping your left leg back, bringing your right foot forward, shifting the weight, lifting yourself up. Hips are square to the front of the room. So there's a little bit of space between your feet as you step back, almost like you're balancing on a balance beam. We're getting so much amazing hip extension in today's moves. Just a couple more seconds right here. 3, 2, 1. Come on down. Tabletop the left leg. Untuck your left foot. Send your right leg back behind you. Hands, palms underneath of your chest. Hips square towards the floor. Think about squeezing your inner thighs in towards each other. Elbows towards your hips as you come on down into your push-up. A little bit faster. Think about bringing that chest forward. Also, chest forward, chin coming down towards the mat. Every time you go down, your leg is gently lifting. Just about 10 seconds left. You got this. You're so worth it. Trying to equally press through both of those hands, even though the weight might want to shift. You did it. Both knees down towards the floor. Let's lower ourselves all the way down. Oop, not my most graceful. Lift yourself up into a little baby cobra. Release down. We're going to press up into our plank and down dog. So toes tuck in, push up to your plank, and you can hang out here the whole 35 seconds if you want. You can hang out here the whole 35 seconds if you want in your down dog, or you get to shift, shifting the weight forward, shoulders on top of hands, palms, and then exhaling, sending hips back, hinge from the hips. How much length can you have from the crown of your head? Can you bring your shoulders away from your ears? So as you send back into down dog, if you're enjoying it, biceps come between your ears, elbow creases shine towards each other. Awesome. Right knee down towards the floor, left leg extend back behind you. Get ready, squeeze your inner thighs in. Don't let your hips shift towards the right, hip flexors towards the floor. And here's our push-up. Great, keep those elbows in nice and tight. My hand is starting to hurt. What can you do today? Where can you be? I'm just going to hang out right here so I'm not putting too much pressure on that left hand. Please keep up with your push-ups if/as you can though for 3, 2, 1. Great. Left knee comes down. Knees can be nice and wide. Hands might come a little forward of your chest as you shift your hips forward. That proud lift of your chest, that big stretch of your low back. Maybe your heels even come together, toes towards the head, and then send your glutes back towards your heels. Taking this great child's pose and just shifting the weight. Releasing your pelvis, your hips towards the mat. How you feeling? I know I'm so proud of myself for just showing up. I hope that you too are so proud of yourself for coming, for doing what you can, for finding some movement. I really believe it's medicine. May it make us feel so good physically and mentally. Keep your glutes back towards your heels. Take as generous of a bending your elbows as you need. A couple breaths in your child's pose. Yay, walk your hands in, push yourself up into tabletop. Give yourself a quick little cat-cow. You got a nice stretch between your upper back, between your shoulders. Maybe a little look over each shoulder. Maybe a little shaking or shimmying of your hips. Awesome. Go ahead, tuck your toes under, send your hips up towards the ceiling. Start to walk your hands to your feet or your feet to your hands. Hands don't need to touch the floor. Maybe the backs of your fingers graze on the floor. Maybe you grab hold of your opposite elbows. You can have a generous bending your knees. Take a moment, shake your head. Yes, yes, I am so proud of myself for coming. Nope, I don't regret it. Even if I couldn't do everything today, I know that it is a start. All right, weight back into your heels. Slowly roll yourself up one vertebrae at a time. Head over heart over hips. Inhale your arms up overhead, palms forward. Let's take a big cactus of the arms. Squeeze your glutes. Press your hips forward one more time. A nice little standing back bend. Weight in your heels. Stretch your arms high to the sky. Take any stretch you want to, bringing your arms out towards the side. Ooh, such a good stretch into the wrists and forearms while your fingers flex to your face. We did it, everyone. Can't wait to see you a little later this afternoon. If you want a little bit more of that awesome stretching, you'll show up to yin. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week.